Welcome to this overexposed video. It's episode 7 with me, Dr. Aman Bhosle, on the mustache twirling Insta live. What the hell is it? It's not even an Insta live. What am I doing? I've completely screwed up the introduction. It's episode 7. We're going to talk about something that's important to me. It's walking wisdom, guys. And today I'm going to speak about something. I hope I don't mess this part up. So I'm doing this after a long time, as you can see. My look has changed a little bit, but it's still me. We're going to talk about this thing that I've been thinking about, speaking about. I wanted to do this video earlier. I want to talk about speaking up in general, the idea of speaking up, why we should speak up, who speaks up, and why it's so important to express yourself and just have your ideas presented in a fair and rational manner when you're trying to say something. I used to have this teacher in school who used to say, it's not important what you think, it's important what I think. Or she used to also sometimes say, you don't have to think about everything, just do what you're told. Or if you had a very strong opinion, she said, you don't need to have an opinion about everything. Stop having your own ideas, just listen to what I'm saying. So I often felt as a little boy that my opinions or my thoughts or my emotions are not given importance. And there was a time in my life where I, despite being as vocal and vociferous as I am, I started curbing my thoughts. I started censoring my thoughts. I stopped saying what I really wanted to say. I even stopped feeling what I wanted to feel. It's almost as if I felt guilty for having human emotions and wanting to express independent ideas, however silly they may seem at the start, but they were my ideas, and I was really emotional about those ideas. The fact of the matter is that people are going to try to put you in a box. They want to judge you, slot you, name you, rate you, classify you, predict you, most importantly. And well, frankly, that's really their problem. That's because they'd like you to be easier to manage, easier to control, and just easier to kind of get it's easier to kind of get in sort of tow, so that they don't have to struggle with you. So all human beings are essentially trying to alleviate their own struggles or trying to simplify their own lives. And for them, a simplified life means a version of you that is a lot easier to manage and control. And I know I have said this many times before. So if you don't speak up, that automatically translates into, hey, he or she doesn't have much of an opinion or a say, so therefore he or she is easier to control, easier to predict, easier to manage, and thus more amenable to my agendas. Often it's important to remind people that they don't exist on this planet to fulfill the needs and agendas of other people. They exist on this planet to fulfill their own needs and agendas. And you have dreams, you have aspirations, you have social needs, emotional needs, physical needs, psychological needs, professional needs, financial needs, familial needs, all kinds of needs. And it's your job to have them met. And to have them met, you got to open your mouth, you got to speak what you want to speak. And that doesn't mean being unfettered and being boorish or being extremely rude or judgmental. What it means is you got to speak, and you got to keep it fair, you got to keep it crisp, you got to keep it extremely even toned, so that it doesn't get messy, so that it doesn't get sidelined with the agendas of other people, so it doesn't get distracted. You want the communication to be crisp, but at the same time extremely fair. When you speak to someone, first try to imagine what they must have gone through and what is fueling their perspectives, rather than trying to combat someone's perspectives, or trying to say, oh, you have all these dumb ideas and my ideas are the only legitimate ones, or your ideas are poorly founded, or your ideas are poorly expressed, or your ideas aren't even ideas. Instead of getting on your riding the high horse, getting on your judgmental streak, I think it's very important to just listen to people. Sometimes just listen. As important as it is to speak up, and that's what this video is about, speaking up, it's also important to listen, because if you are going to speak up, you're going to offer a counterpoint, you're going to offer an alternate perspective. You first need to know what you are up against. And it's very important to express what you feel to people who are important in your life, your mother, your father, your siblings, your friends, your spouse, your therapist. You've got to speak up, because no one can predict what's going on with you. No one can read what's going on in your mind, even if they claim to have these supernatural abilities to sort of get in your mind. Sometimes a parent says this to a child, right? I know what you're thinking even before you have thought it. Or sometimes a spouse will say that I always know what's on your mind because I've known you for so long. Understand that these are just things that are said. You know what your emotional experience is. You know what your needs are. You know exactly what is important to you. So you need to take charge and you need to speak up. Speak up. Be extremely fair, which means consider all perspectives. Be extremely rational, which means try to not get weighed down by your own emotions. Try to speak about the point in question without it getting diverted by your own emotional expectations of the response you may or may not receive. So speak up and be fair. Speak up and be a good listener. Speak up and be rational. Speak up without getting emotional. See, there's nothing wrong in having emotions that you experience, strong emotions, volatile emotions. But it's very important that when you speak, you try to express an idea without letting that idea getting contaminated with your expectations of how that idea will be seen. You express an idea, all right? A lot of people are going to say, oh, you're so difficult just because you're being vehement. Your vehemence will be seen as difficulty. Your assertiveness will be seen as being obstinate or being rude. You're having strong opinions or strong expectations is going to be seen as you being extremely stubborn. If you are extremely vocal or transparent about how you feel or what you want, people are going to say you're too needy or you're too disrespectful or you don't understand what we are going through. You always think about yourself. People say this, right? You always think about yourself. And sometimes the answer to that may be, well, who else am I supposed to think about, right? Because my interests to self-preservation, my interests towards my journey have to be extremely rigorous, because no one's going to pick up the pieces after me if I don't get what I want and if I kind of fall and my fail-safes aren't in place. So of course you got to think about yourself, and that doesn't mean you're being selfish, of course. There's that fine line where you're only thinking about yourself and you don't care about other people's feelings, but it's called self-interest and self-preservation, and that's why you need to speak up. You need to speak your truth, take up space, especially with the people you love. Tell them how you feel. Tell them what you need. Tell them what your concerns are. Tell them what your dreams are. Tell them what you see for yourself in the future. Tell them what you have learned from your past. Understand that a conversation is a collaborative process. Okay, it's not just one person declaring their needs and requirements. It has to be two-sided for it to not feel lopsided. So whatever significant relationship you're trying to navigate, negotiate, all right? And that's what I mean by speaking up. Keep it respectful, yet be firm, yet be nurturing and caring, yet try to inject small doses of humor. Keep it light. Don't get into those deep, dark conversational spaces where you sit all huddled up and you say, oh no, this is a serious topic, a serious discussion, a serious problem. Fine, I get it. Some topics require that kind of attention. And some topics are more serious than others. I completely understand it. I'm not saying that you need to trivialize the experience of what you have gone through or what you are going through. All I'm saying is try to slip in the message rather than hammer the message, but at the same time express the message, be true to the message, stand by your convictions, because if you don't, people are going to make you try to stand by their convictions, and then that's a very unpleasant process. You start feeling disrespected, disregarded, disempowered, and disturbed, most importantly. So speak up, speak your truth, make sure you are being extremely private about it. Don't speak your truth on Instagram. All right, speak to the person with whom you'd like to sort things out with. It should always be a two-way conversation, ideally face-to-face, ideally over a call, but do speak up. Don't forget, you are important, you are valuable, and your emotions exist, your thoughts exist, so do not ignore them. All right, that's it from me.